Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Murray Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, and today from the edge of the Great Red Divide, we're going to teach you how to canvas.
Yay! Do's, don'ts, tips, tricks, things you need to know. And as we get going, we wanted to remind you that if your organization is interested in having the mamas come out and do something prior to the primary to help your area, reach out to us.
We'll train you, we'll walk with you, we'll help you through this, because as both of us were first-time candidates in 2018, and we know how hard it is. Even though we'd canvassed for other people, we had never done it for ourselves, and that ask is huge. So let us know if we can help you, because we want to get you elected.
All right, so we're going to start off by saying a little bit about canvassing. When Heidi and I are talking about it, it seems really important that you understand why. There's a reason why they say knock doors, knock doors, knock doors.
Canvassing is knocking doors. It is, you can do it from the phone, you can do it via text, but person to person, there's nothing else like it and nothing better for your campaign.
Absolutely not. The reason that it's so important, I think, is multifold. I think, one, it lets you see who you will really be representing. We all have our bubbles.
Yes.
We all have our friend groups and the politically active folks that we know, and we forget that those outside of our neighborhood or our town that are still our neighbors may live very differently.
And they are also people that you would be representing once you are elected, and it's important for you to connect with them on every possible level.
Find out what's important to them and ask if they have any ideas themselves.
Yes.
Because if you ask what's important to someone and you have an answer for them on how to fix it, you may not have the right answer because it's very different from who you are.
Yeah.
So ask them what a solution they might think of would be.
And take notes. And be sure if you promise somebody you're going to get back to them, that you get back to them. So that can make or break you as a candidate.
Canvassing is also important because it puts you in the right headspace.
Yes.
When you talk to different people and you see what different people's needs are, their stories become your stories.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The connection you feel becomes strong and you feel responsible.
It makes you armored.
For these folks.
Yeah, it makes you armored in the conviction that you are there to serve, that you are there to help them. And Moreno, I've shared with you many times, after I would meet people, I would go back to my car and just write notes and notes and notes about the people that I met and the things that were important to them. And some days I would sit there and cry because they had some really terrible stories, and I met a man one time, hadn't been out of his house in 8 months. His wheelchair ramp had broken. And he had no way to get out of his house. So what I was able to do was connect him with somebody that could repair his ramp so he could get out. And nobody came to see him. He had Meals on Wheels delivered, and they just knocked on the door and delivered it. But nobody did anything for him, and he didn't know who to ask.
I think Heidi hits a really good point here. We're going to do another episode one day on the silent majority.
Yes.
And that is what we're talking about right now. When you're canvassing, when you're getting to know your constituents, there are far more of them that are in different places than there are of your group,
right,
or those that are in the political scene,
yeah,
or active. These are folks that you really need to represent, and they don't get it. They don't know how, like Heidi just said.
Right.
They don't know how to make their voice heard.
And
it's up to you and I to help magnify that voice.
You have to be their voice, and you have to be their vote. Just because they live in a tent in a field behind the feed store, as I came across in Morris, Illinois, doesn't mean that they don't have a voice, and doesn't mean that they shouldn't have a vote. In fact, if anything, they need you worse than somebody living in a palatial house at times. So you need to make sure that all of those voices and all of those votes count, and it is up to you, and canvassing is how you get to know this.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk a few do's and don'ts.
Yep.
One of the biggest things is that you're going to feel very uncomfortable. We
Very.
were just talking about differences in folks and demographics and socioeconomic backgrounds. And it may be something that is completely uncomfortable to you, but you'd better get comfortable. I've canvassed with many, many candidates in my day. And it's interesting because a candidate will be different in one neighborhood than another.
Yes.
Not that they change their message or they change who they are as a core, but their confidence level increases or decreases depending on what neighborhoods. And it has to do more than with racial, but with the social aspects.
You're more comfortable in the neighborhoods where you think you belong than in a neighborhood that is a higher socioeconomic class, a lower socioeconomic class. You are, or a middle socioeconomic class, you are comfortable where you feel you fit. And you need to know that it doesn't matter. You're all people and you really have all the same issues at different levels of imperative, a different level of you got to get it done, right? I lost my train of thought there for a minute.
That's okay.
Sometimes a memory comes back to me and I'm like, oh, and then that happened. But, and here's the other thing. We are, as humans, innately shy. I, believe it or not, am a very shy person. And there are times that I am, and I would get up in the morning and I think,
malarkey.
Do this
malarkey.
Again.
There's a word we need to talk about. Remember?
Malarkey.
Malarkey.
Yeah. Joe.
Yeah. Malarkey, Joe. Malarkey. Sorry, sidetrack. Joe.
So what I was going to say is that even somebody like me who tends to be more effervescent and more out there about stuff and really doesn't have a big deal of fear factor, everybody gets like, I don't want to be told no today. But the thing is that you have to get so many no's to get that yes, I will vote for you. And when you're, especially in the primary, when you're canvassing Democrats, they are already on board with your message. So this is the easy time to canvass. It's after the primary that gets hard.
I've seen candidates make the mistake of assuming that certain neighborhoods won't go out and vote. That's stupid.
Yes.
If you touch someone and get them excited about you, they'll find a way to vote.
They will.
When you're at the door, when you get a hold of someone, make sure that you have vote by mail
information with you.
If your clerk has released that, make sure you have that with you.
Printed that you can put in their hands.
Absolutely.
I had postcards with stamped self-addressed envelopes, or not envelopes, but postcards so they could mail it in and get their ballot back. I did that step for them. I can't fill out the ballot for them. By law, I shouldn't have ballots like that with me. However, you can't have a blank ballot to hand somebody. You just can't fill it in or mail it for them. But I would make sure that I'd have the information in writing to hand to them.
Absolutely. Also have when early voting is.
Yes.
Have the locations. Narrow those locations down to the area that you're canvassing. I don't know if you're in a bigger area.
Where people vote.
There are multiple early voting sites.
Right.
So if I'm on the south side of Joliet, I'm not going to give all the information. I'm just going to give it tailored to where that area votes.
Yeah. Do your homework. The night I always would set mine up the night before I would go out. I'd have all that information for my volunteers. I'd write it all down into the computer and make it on little cards so that they could pass it out. And each person got a little stack of addressed postcards that went to the county clerk to mail back a ballot. Yeah. And the other thing that I did is if they wanted to vote the day of and had no ride, we had a way to get them to the polls. Each Democratic county chair is going to have a list of people that will drive people to the polls, because you have people who don't own cars that aren't able to drive for a myriad of reasons. You have people that are elderly or infirm and they just need a little extra help to get there. So we make sure that they can get there. It's their right to vote. They should maybe consider voting by mail, but a lot of people like to go the day of. And the other thing I also kept track of is if there was any coffees or luncheons for people who had voted. A lot of places hold special gatherings. If you come in with your I voted sticker, they'll give you a cup of coffee. So I'd keep, if that's in this neighborhood.
So keep that in mind
Yeah.
when you're thinking of something to say when you go to the door. So wait, I am going to ding dong to Heidi and show you what not to do and big mistakes that are made quickly. Ready?
Okay. Yes,
okay.
Ready.
Hey, Henry, Heidi. Okay, dem. Okay. I got this. Right. Ding dong.
Takes me a while to get to the door, and then I got to push my dogs back.
Not home.
But here I am. I open the door and I say, "Hello, can I help you?"
So, a couple things we did wrong there as I dance around the studio. A couple things I did wrong was, one, I didn't wait long enough for Heidi to get to the door. Time tends to become very relative, and when you're nervous, time goes
Fast.
very, very fast. So
Yeah.
you think that you have been standing at the door for a minute, and it's been 10 seconds. It's scientifically proven this happens. So what we highly recommend is, with your literature, having a Sharpie marker and writing on your lit, "Sorry I missed you," sign it. By the time you do that, and figure out where to put it in the door, under the mat.
Never in the mailbox.
Never
ever,
in the
ever,
mailbox.
ever.
That is federally
Forbidden.
illegal. You cannot do that.
No.
So by the time you do that, you'll often hear somebody coming and the door start to open.
Yeah.
But nothing irritates someone more than when they uproot what they're doing, come to the door, you're gone, and there's a flyer in the door. That's
Yes.
really
Irritating.
frustrating.
And, for some people, I'll use me for an example. When somebody comes to the door, I've got to make sure my dogs want to jump on you. They want to jump on you, and I've got to make sure that they're focused and sitting and staying before I open the door.
Everybody knows in our house you have to wait till the same thing with
Yeah.
our dogs. Or the kids.
Or the
depending on who it
toddlers, yeah.
is. Yeah.
Cat, people would, sometimes their cat would dash out, and of course I would always help them catch it, always.
So be very conscious of that and take your time. That extra 30 seconds isn't going to hurt at
No.
all. And leaving a personal note says a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. I always used a nice gel pen, not a Sharpie marker, because I've got kind of,
Slick.
Yeah.
Excellent point. It
yeah.
depends on the lit that you have. If you have lit that's very shiny, a gel pen will not work.
Right.
It'll slide right off. If you have flat, a gel pen works better than a
Yeah.
Sharpie.
Yeah.
So you got to figure it out with your lit, but make sure you have that with you and that everyone canvassing with you has that
Right.
with them.
I used to have little canvas bags, and I would pack them the night before with their list, with their number for Vote Builder. If I had that, I would have all of their literature. If I wanted them to knock 40 doors, there was 40 pieces of lit. If I wanted, we would always go for 100. So usually it'd be 110 pack bundles so that they could keep their count. And everything was in there. Do you want a sign? And ask people, can I put a sign in your yard?
A script is really important.
Yeah.
Heidi just mentioned something that's so important. And if you do have access to Vote Builder, it is much easier
because
to
you can
have
do
a
it from your
script.
phone.
Well, not even your phone. Even if you print and kill the environment with walk sheets, it will tell you who they are, how they voted,
Yeah.
and it will. And then you have questions. Do I have your support? Yes or no. May I put a sign in your yard? Yes or no. Are you interested in volunteering? Yes or no. And these are things you need to ask. So making the ask is important. Okay, I'm gonna ding dong again.
Okay.
Ding dong.
Hello?
Oh, hi. Hi, Heidi.
Yes?
I'm Murray Briel. How are you today?
I'm good, Mary. What can I do for you?
I am out today getting to know people in the area and finding out what's important to them because I'm running for Queen of the World. So I want to know what's important to you so that as Queen of the World, I can make sure your voice gets heard.
Who are you running against?
I don't have anyone running against me because everyone's afraid.
All right. Well, thank you. It was nice to meet you.
Is there anything that I can answer for you or any concerns or questions you might have?
I have a concern about all this white stuff that's falling from the sky today.
Sweet Mary, I know. I see you've got a big walk. Do you shovel that yourself?
I have to.
You don't have anybody to help?
No, I tried to get the cat a little shovel, but he wouldn't do it.
Well, I'll tell you, I have 3 boys and a husband. And all of them, bless their hearts, are incapable of understanding that white stuff needs to go off of what we walk and drive on.
Yes.
I have had them out in the middle of the night with cardboard because we've lost our shovels. We've buried our shovels. So I totally understand.
So can you turn it off? Can you turn that stuff off as Queen of the Universe?
I would like to, but Mother Nature and I are not on speaking terms. She's
Okay.
kind of like the GOP.
Okay. Well, listen, I'll still think about voting for you.
Thank you very much. Can I leave you some information?
Yes, absolutely.
Here it is with all of my contact information. I would love to have you reach out if you have any questions or concerns. It'd mean the world to me.
Is this your phone number here?
It is. It's my personal cell phone.
Okay.
I may not get back to you right away, but I promise within 24 hours, I will reach out.
Great. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Have a wonderful day. Heidi, can I hug you? I'm a hugger. Oh, have the best day. And be careful with the snow.
I will.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay! I just got a vote. That took a short period of time.
Yeah.
And we managed to... How did you feel it went as the voter, Heidi?
Oh, well, I felt it was fine.
I thought at first you were a little... Yeah, go away.
Well, people come to my door to sell me stuff, and I have that no soliciting sign
Oh, she's got a no soliciting
and a no
sign.
trespassing sign.
Yeah.
So how does that work? How can you come to your door? Well, and this is really important because these are things that I really didn't even know when I was running for office, is that you are not soliciting, so you can knock that door. By law, you're not selling anything. You're passing out information for political purpose, and you can knock that door.
And I will tell you, in all of the tens of thousands of doors that I've knocked, 8 out of 10 times that no soliciting sign doesn't mean anything. And not... Half of the time they didn't know it was there or they forgot about it.
It was on the door when they bought the house.
It was on the door when they bought the house. They're happy to talk to you. They're like, what? I don't care. In fact, here's a story.
Mm-hmm.
I was canvassing and with Amy Davis up in the DeKalb area.
Love Amy.
She's fantastic. And as we were walking, we came to a house and it had this. We walked this neighborhood, and one of the houses on our list had a no soliciting sign. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Is that okay? We're just gonna. So we kind of went up and then thought maybe not.
Yeah.
It looked a little standoffish.
Right.
So we went around the block and we came back and we're like, darn it, we're going. Let's go. And as we walk up, this guy comes to the door and he's an older gentleman. And he's like, I wondered what you were doing. Why didn't you just come up and knock? And we said, oh, my goodness, sir, we're so sorry. There was a no soliciting sign on your door. And we really wanted to reach out to you, but we didn't want to. He's like, oh, my damn daughter-in-law put that on my thing when my wife died. Come on in. He was amazing. And he was so happy. And he didn't even know it was there. And I found that perhaps not while as animated of an interaction, was still a majority of the people. So don't. Now what happens, okay, all right, here we go. What happens if somebody is very angry?
Grouchy.
When you ring the doorbell and that no soliciting sign? What would you do?
Well, here's what I have done in the past.
How about you ding dong me?
Okay.
Shut up! What?
Hi, are you Harry?
Harriet, yes. Who's speaking?
Hi, my name is Heidi Henry. I'm running for Illinois State Senate. How are you today?
Do you see the sign on the door? It says no soliciting. That means go away.
Oh, Harriet, I'm so sorry to bother you today, but I'm not selling anything, so I'm not soliciting. Here's some information about me. I'm running for Illinois State Senate. Do you have a minute to tell me about the things that might bother you in this area besides people knocking on your doors?
I was about to say you. You bother me, but that was all right, because I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Now's not a good time. You can hear what's going on in the back. Can you come by another day?
I sure can, Harriet. What day would be good for you?
Anything but not right now.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your time. Let me leave this for you.
Sure. Bye. That was super successful. Heidi.
I've knocked a lot of doors.
So these are just some silly examples, but yet things that will happen to you. And you'll have days where the door will get shut on you. Oh.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, here. You knock on my door. I'll shut the door on you.
Ding dong.
What?
Hi.
Click.
Not interested. And that can happen 10 out of 20 times in a day that you reach someone.
Sometimes, people are home, they're just not answering their door. Leave them some literature, leave them a smile, wave as you leave in case they have a ring
If you're
doorbell.
my husband and you approach, okay, women, you have a serious advantage here as far as canvassing.
Yeah.
Men, you do not always have that advantage, as my husband, who is positively adorable. Okay? He's so great and personable, but people see him and they hide. He's not super big. He's not scary. He is hairy, but not hairy yet. But and I have watched people pull the blinds down as he approaches. Close the windows, like pretend they're not there. I'm like, why are so I'm getting him a shirt that says not selling anything. Hopefully that
Well,
helps.
and me with my goofy T-shirts, I always wore a campaign shirt, and I made sure that all my volunteers had a campaign shirt on. And I also had, I don't have it in here right now, but I had a lanyard for them that it was just a nice little string lanyard, and I had them put in it their driver's license and one of my cards on the back. Number one, it helped them carry my business cards with. And it identified them immediately to whoever opened the door that, here's your...
brilliant idea.
Well, people are nervous. And I always caution them, do not go inside somebody's house. They may take it the wrong way. You might put yourself in danger. I was never in any danger, and I went into a lot of houses.
Which brings us to canvassing with a buddy.
Yes.
Okay, when you're on a shoestring budget and you're grassroots and you're spread out all over the world, sometimes when you're going from one event to another, you have an hour and a half to canvass,
Yes.
and that's what you got to do wherever you are.
Right.
And that's understandable. But as often as possible, have a buddy with you for a few reasons. One, it makes it a lot more fun.
Yes.
Two,
You can canvass opposite sides of the street.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can cover twice the ground.
Don't
in
go
an
to a
area.
town without somebody knowing where you're going. Always leave. I would always leave like a note on my desk where we went
What
to
walk list we were
Wilmington,
doing.
Wilmington today. Here's the routes that we were walking. Only so that if something happened, God forbid, that somebody would know where we were at, right? But having a buddy with makes it go fast. It makes it more fun. It is also a good way to carry, share literature when you run out.
It's good to keep you on track. There are going to be days where you're going to talk to somebody and they're the sweetest person in the world and you feel a strong connection to them, but they keep you for far too long.
So your buddy can say, hey, we got to get going,
So it's also a safety touch.
Yeah.
If one of you is doing one side of the street and the other one's doing the other side of the street, you may go around the corner and not see your buddy. But you always know that in 5 minutes you find each other.
Right.
So if somebody's talking for that long, be like, I'm so sorry, I have to take her away or him away.
we have to be someplace,
Yeah. So that's a really great way to do it, and
Right.
also to be safe.
And the other thing, I can't encourage this enough. Find another candidate, not the one you're running against, but find another candidate to walk with. They have to do the work too, and two people doing the work lightens the load and gets more done. I always worked with other candidates. Mostly mostly because I was too poor to afford Vote Builder, so I didn't have it, but a lot of times they did.
We had
so we
labor,
would share lists.
and we would walk that and help anybody if they
Yeah.
could help us. So there's ways to help.
We helped each other in the primary, and I helped so many people. I walked their stuff from stem to stern, from one end to the other. Everybody from our governor to somebody who was running for clerk. So, everybody's important, and you want to get your entire squad elected. There's nobody that should leave you out of their canvas, and you should never leave anybody out of your canvas. So
Absolutely.
the one thing that irritates me as a candidate is when I will work for a candidate and they won't do a darn thing for me. So
that's another note. If
Yeah.
you're a candidate and you tell another candidate you're going to do something for them, do it.
But-
if you can't, if you're not sure, be upfront with them.
yeah.
They will be far more helpful and respect of you if you say, I don't know what's going on yet.
But the other thing, Murray, too, is that you cannot carry another candidate that's not willing to put the work in.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I would meet other candidates that didn't want it. They didn't want to get their own petitions done. They didn't want to walk their own literature. You know what? I'm not here to work for you. You've got to do the work, because otherwise you're missing out on your passion. If
And
your passion is
exactly.
going to events and not knocking doors, you are lost.
And I think Heidi hits this right, which is why we're going to do the silent majority episode. She nails it again. And that is, if you don't touch base with that silent majority, the people who aren't active, that don't donate, that aren't
You don't
online,
understand them.
then you're leaving out most of who you represent.
You're leaving
And-
out the stories that touch you so deeply that you are willing to work from dawn
Sun up
to sundown.
On those days
Honest to God.
that you've
Yep.
had 15 out of 18 doors slammed in your face. I hate Democrats. You know, whatever the case may be.
Well, you won't get that in the primary.
One day, that one day, you may get one that keeps you going and tells you
That
why you
connects
did
with,
it,
you know,
why you're doing this. And if you're not affected,
yeah.
if you don't want to be out there and getting to know who you'll represent, if you are afraid to do that, or you are depending on social media and all these other
don't.
things to get you
Don't.
elected, events, don't run.
Don't. Yeah, don't run.
Because it's not about them, it's about you, and we have too much of that in politics. If
Right.
you think being a politician, and that's what's wrong with a majority of our representatives
They
and
forget.
senators in Congress.
They forget.
Door to door, grassroots, getting
don't
to
know
the
the
people,
people.
right? In
Yeah.
the beginning, when they're running, when they're hungry. As they get more demands on them from their job,
Mm-hmm.
they also have to do all this campaigning. And so it becomes able to spend less time.
Right.
It's not even intentional.
There's
at the
disconnect.
doors.
There's a total
so they
disconnect.
start doing forums
The-
and talks.
Yes.
And people come to them. But that's still such a small
And
percentage. They lose touch.
That
with,
is the privilege of being an incumbent. I mean, the incumbent I ran against did nothing. She had people she hired for so much per hour to go out and do the work for her. But she had forums and events in public spaces that I wasn't allowed to do because of rules. And people would come to her. So as the opponent, as the person coming in, you've got to work 10 times harder. You've got to head down, elbows up, just keep working. And you have to let everybody's story touch you. You have to let the story of the man that can't afford his medical marijuana touch you. And be empathetic and compassionate about the fact that he hurts and he's got nowhere to go. Because it's not covered by Medicaid, and care about that, because
and you
that's
have to stay in
important.
touch with that. If you get
Yes.
elected, you have to stay in touch with that.
Stay in touch with it and have your door open for people. People used to walk in my office all the time in Little Marseilles, and they knew I'd be there after dark because we'd be done canvassing. Sometimes I'd come back to the office and people would be lined up to talk to me, and I had no power to help them. But I would take notes, and I would hand out Sue Resin, who I ran against, her card. I'd say, here's a copy of her number. Call her, because that's her job to take care of you right now. I want to, but it's her job now, and I can't. I'm sorry she didn't call you back the 16 times you called. So, and Sue, that's still true.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of other things that you can do. So we will.
I want to talk about no trespassing signs though, real quick.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So, because we talked about the no solicitation signs, but sometimes where I live, where a lot of you live, are in
in
very
a rural area.
And at the end of the long gravel driveway with the big barking dog is a sign that says no trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted, whatever. You, under federal law, can go through onto that property. That is part of the rules that affect candidates. It's important to get the message across, and that's why our federal government views it in that manner. And I, as a personal story, saw one of those signs, and the campaign manager I had then was a young woman, and she was so aggressive. I mean, she was just so out there. And I kept telling her, it's country nice when people have that sign out. And she's like, no, you need to understand the law. We drove up one very long driveway to an enormous palatial house with a lot of big barking dogs. And the man ended up donating very nicely to my campaign and has become a very good friend. Had I not violated the no trespassing sign, I wouldn't have had that story to share. So go do it. Be brave. Be brave, because
break
once you're
out of your comfort zone.
Well, once
It
you're elected,
reinforces why you're
have to be
doing
brave.
this.
Yeah.
It reinforces what this is really about. And if those things don't touch you, don't run. Drop out now.
This stuff will armor you up to be able to serve the public, to be a public servant, not a politician.
A public
servant. So, which is what Democrats usually fall under.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you soon with another episode.
Again, reinforcing, we'll be happy to come out and train with you. It's a small fee to cover our gas and our time, but we'll be happy to come out there and work with you, role play, walk with you, get this done.
On any portion of campaigning, grassroots campaigning, we're happy to help.
Yeah.
So if you're running, we hope this helped you out. If you know people who are running.
And again, Marie, we're sponsored by Blue Prairie Strategies again today.
Good job.
Because they are, your choice or somebody you should consult with on your run for office.
Blue Prairie Strategies. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank
Is it
you.
a .com? It's a .com.
It is a .com.
Okay.
And you can find us on Facebook and
yeah.
Also reach out to the mamas.
Yeah, reach out to the mamas. We're hard workers.
So hopefully this gave you some great information and some good help. And we got to share some stories and why it's important. Look for us. If you know someone running, share, like, make sure we
follow,
get the message
subscribe,
out. Absolutely.
donate.
It's coming up on Christmas. Do you really want to get your mother-in-law something? Don't you want to? No, I'm totally kidding. Totally. Oh, that's horrible. Too bad we can't edit. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again. Coming from the Great Red Divide, I'm Marie Briel.
I'm Heidi Henry. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.